Begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. Today's Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Manny Santos, 6th grade student at Sunridge Middle School.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So much, sir. Great job. Next, we'll move on to item number 3, superintendent comments.
Yes, President Gandara, members of the board. Is this on?
No.
There we go.
There you go. It's on. On Saturday, we had an opportunity to honor all of our teachers of the year, which was a memorable experience down at the El Paso Convention Center. Congratulations to all teachers. Also, congratulations to Cristina Luna Castaños from Purple Heart Elementary for being named the 2017 Elementary SISD Teacher of the Year, and also congratulations to Miss Candace Prince from El Dorado High School for being named the Socorro ISD Secondary Teacher of the Year. So congratulations to those two. Yesterday, we also held an end-of-the-year celebration for our SISD WIN Academy teachers. I want to thank all of our WIN Academy teachers, for making it possible for SISD to make sure that we leave no child behind. As a reminder, our school district will be closed on Monday, May 29th, in observance of Memorial Day. I wish Team SISD a restful 3-day weekend as we salute the men and women who died while serving in the U.S. military. June 2nd will be the last day of school. Wow. Yes. Students are excited. The employees are excited. Time sure does fly when you're having fun. It's always an exciting time of year, especially for our graduates. Our graduations are scheduled on June 2nd, which is a Friday, and also June 3rd, which is a Saturday. So congratulations to all our amazing graduates and obviously their proud families. We'll also have our summer dual credit kickoff at Trailblazers Early College. The grand opening is at America's High School on June 5th, so looking forward to that event for that summer program for our amazing students. And again, these are some exciting times for SISD students with the most early college programs in the region. So thank you to everyone who has made this possible. President Gandara, that concludes my comments.
Thank you, sir. Let's go down to item number 4, board honors. Mr. Escobar.
Good evening, President Gandara, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Espinosa. My name is Daniel Escobar, Chief Communications Officer for the district, and it is my honor to introduce tonight's recognitions. If you'll please step down to receive our honorees. Our first recognition will honor an Eastlake High School student whose creative art piece won the citywide Young American Patriotic Art Contest. The student was selected as a top 3 winner, an honor which recognizes up-and-coming artists who encourage patriotism in youth. Congratulations to Eastlake High School's Ramon Veliz. He is joined by his teacher, Claudia Castañeda. If we can have you both back to the front for a photo. Just a quick note that all of the photos taken by our district photographer, Mr. Largo, will be posted on the district website on our SmugMug account page where they're available for free high-resolution download. Congratulations once again. Our second recognition will honor Team SISD students who excelled in the 2017 Do the Right Thing Writing Challenge. The students were ranked among the top 10 winners out of 40 region competitors and 7,000 contest submissions. The challenge encouraged middle school students to examine the impact of violence among youth and write about what can be done to reduce it. Congratulations to our young writers. First, from John Drugan School, Montserrat Peña. Her teacher is Lonnie Dixon. From Sunridge Middle, Nathaniel Payan. His teacher is Elizabeth Acosta. And from Enzer Middle School, we have Russell Acosta. Yourself. Yes, if you'll please return to the front for a photo. Christy, when you're done, you'll come up.
Can you hold up your seat? There you go. I let him know.
Sorry, thank you. I'll stop thinking about stuff. Next, we recognize two Pebble Hills High School students who performed a heroic act to save the life of a fellow classmate. The students were quick to conduct emergency response techniques on a classmate who was choking on a food item. Relying on their recently trained CPR experience, they performed the Heimlich maneuver on the victim and successfully cleared the obstruction, allowing the student to breathe. Congratulations and thank you to these young heroes. We'll begin with the student who they assisted, Adriana Bernier. And our two young heroes who helped, Deb Briones. And Destiny Provencio. And their teacher and instructor with these CPR experiences that had given them, Mr. Rod Liston. If we can have you please come back to the front for a photo. Awesome. Congratulations once again. Next, we recognize SISD students whose artwork was selected to be displayed at the 2017 HEB Excellence in Education Award ceremony. The contest received more than 150 art submissions portraying the theme, drawing inspiration from Texas educators, from students district-wide. 5 elementary, middle, and high school art submissions were displayed at the HEB Awards Banquet, which was recently held in Austin, Texas. Congratulations to these young, talented students. From Escontrias Elementary, Claudia Moncayo. From Chester Jordan, Jada Ives. Also from Chester Jordan, Chloe Phillips. Their teacher is Cynthia Treviso. Continuing with students from Chester, Jordan, Anjali Sandoval. Teacher is Oscar Gonzalez. From Sioux Shook, Elena Cadena. Her teacher is Edith Avillas. From Desert Wind, Angel Saucedo. Teacher is Karen Perez. From Socorro Middle, Alexis Ruiz. Teacher is Jose Giron. From Clark Middle, we had Mia Juarez, who was unable to join us. Her teacher is Abril Govea. Also from Clark Middle, Kaylee Flores. And teacher is Rudy Royval. From Enzer Middle, Regina Pineda. Teacher is Luisa Mendoza. From Eastlake High School, Taylor Baker. Brianna Chavez. Michael Ranger. Your teacher is Veronica Chaparro. Also from Eastlake, Phoebe Lozano. Her teacher is Claudia Castañeda. And from El Dorado High School, Michelle Hernandez. And her teacher is Virginia Castañeda. Students, teachers, if we can please have you back to the front for a photo.
Second one?
I didn't see, yeah.
All right, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry. Ma'am, will you turn your certificate around? There you go. All right, look right at the center and just keep smiling. Keep smiling, keep smiling. Congratulations once again. Thank you. Our next recognition will honor the Montwood Middle School Mighty Moose robotics team, whose fantastic programming and research abilities qualified them for the first LEGO League World Championship in Houston. The group of students won first place in the regional first LEGO League competition. Congratulations to the Montwood Middle robotics team. They are Adrian Arellanes, Arat Torres, D'Angelo Bristow, Diego Ceballos, Eric Medina, Jesus Quintero, Julian Venegas, Raven Chate, Jesus Tovar, and their instructors and coaches are Ray Bonilla, and Sandy Brandon. If we can have you all please return to the front for a photo. Congratulations once again. Next, we recognize Team SISD students who excelled in career and technology student organization state competitions and advanced to national competitions. More than 90 SISD students placed at the state level in their respective organizations, which include Business Professionals of America, or BPA, Distributive Education Clubs of America, DECA, Skills USA, Technology Student Association, or TSA, Health Occupation Students of America, or HOSA, and the Texas Association of Future Educators, or TAFE. The students are being recognized along with their sponsors by campus. From Pebble Hills High School, we have Brandon Marin Elanera, and his advisor, Raquel Gomez. If we can have you join the board for a photo. Congratulations once again. From Eastlake High School, Sneh Patel. And Nathaniel Uribeiri. Woody body. Excuse me. Woody body. It's from El Dorado High School, Anaí Cuvalier. Jenny Cha. Miriam Meneses. And their advisor, Liliana Cisneros. From Montwood High School, Ilse Martinez. Juliet Herrera. Their advisor is Aurea Herrera. Also from Montwood, Victoria Licon. And her advisor is Valerie Villanueva. That's it? Kenneth was not here today?
His students didn't show up, so he didn't.
Representing America's High School, Marco Lara. If we can have you up front for a photo, Mr. Lara. Congratulations. From Socorro High School, Ana Paola Perez. Her advisor is Fabiola Armendariz. Tiare Vidaña. Pamela Martinez. Gregorio Quintero. Jennifer de Avila. and Advisor David Herrera.
One more. Thank you.
From Mission Early College High School, Alessandra Merino. Alyssa Gale. Gabriel Flores. Israel Escudero. Jillian Serrano. Madison Hauser. Mark Myers. Sergio Chan. Valeria Padilla. Vicente Martinez. Their advisors are Danielle, excuse me, and Christopher Weeham. Jennifer Armendariz. Daniela Chavarria. Anaí Diaz. Tracy Hun. Karina Martinez. And Mona Lisa Sanchez. Yes, sir. If we can have you all please come to the front for a photo. Congratulations once again. Next, we will recognize the Eastlake High School boys and girls cross-country teams for another excellent season. as they both won their respective 2016-17 2-5A district championships. The boys team captured their third district title and the girls team earned their second championship. Congratulations to these outstanding athletes. They are Alyssa Betancourt, Amaris Chavez, Stephanie Gastelum, Caitlin Martinez, Stephanie Martinez, Nayeli Paredes Garcia, excuse me, Carlos Amendaris, Edgar Gonzalez, Adrian Lozano, Hector Morales, Manuel Rodriguez, Enrique Rodriguez, assistant coach Marissa Ray, and head coach Keith Quinones. Congratulations once again. Next, we recognize 3 track athletes from Eastlake and America's high schools who earned a ticket to state in their respective events and shined the spotlight on all of Team SISD. The students demonstrated excellent abilities in the high jump, 1,600-meter run, and discus. Representing the Falcons, we have a 2-time state qualifier and 3-time district champion with a personal best jump of 6 feet, 9.5 inches. From America's, absolutely, round of applause. From America's High School, we recognize 2 seniors, one with a record throw of 187 feet, 8 inches in the discus, and another athlete who finished 4th in the state after running in the fastest 1,600-meter race in Texas high school history. Congratulations to these amazing athletes and their coaches. From Eastlake High School, Milo Rios. And coach Bianca Velos. From America's High School, Brian Lujan. His assistant coach, Kenneth Lucero. Unfortunately, Colton Lindeman was unable to join us, but their head coach, Menson Holloway, is here with us. Congratulations, coach. Awesome. Congratulations once again. Next, we recognize America's High School boys track team for winning their first ever 1-6A track and field district championship. They represented, absolutely round of applause for this great accomplishment. They represented their school in Team SISD at the highest caliber. The Trailblazers broke several long-standing team records. Many of the athletes achieved great accomplishments and set plenty of personal records. Congratulations again to these championship Trailblazers. Representing the team, Kevin Campbell, Abel Cervantes, Tremaine Henderson, Julian Hinojos, Jesse Lares, Cesar Ortiz, Armando Villa, Brian Lujan, and again, coaches, Kenneth Lucero, and Menson Holloway. Congratulations once again. We have one special presentation this evening to honor the Montwood High School counseling team. These counselors earned Montwood High School the distinction of being named a 2017 recognized ASCA model program school by the American School Counselor Association. The RAMP designation recognizes school counseling programs that are dedicated to delivering a comprehensive, data-driven, and an exemplary educational environment for students. The campus is the only school in Texas and one of only 104 across the country to be honored for its exemplary commitment to offering a comprehensive school counseling program. From the Montwood High School counseling team, tonight we have Adriana Martinez, Liz Reveles, Gabby Shimshot, and Annette Monsivais. Got it. Ladies, if we can please have you back up front for a photo. And we conclude our board recognitions with our first ever Wiggle. Thank you.
Where we at?
For nothing.
Yeah.
They do that kind of stuff.
We're just waiting on the superintendent. It is always great when your boss gets to embarrass you. So
I'll be singing that all night now. Hands up high. That's the way we wiggle low. Earworm.
get down. Let's go ahead and move on to item number 6, open forum. We did have some individuals that signed up, but for a specific agenda item, so we'll move on to item 7, public hearing. Mr. Nett Williams.
Good afternoon, President Gandra, Dr. Espinosa, members of the board. Today I will be presenting to you the federal grants that Socorro ISD will be applying for and the proposed budget for each of those grants for the 2017-18 school year. That's the wrong. Let me get to the correct slide. No. What was it on there? Don't have it. Okay, I think you have the slides in front of you. I'll continue.
No, not yet.
No?
They're not up there.
It's on page 12.
Yeah, move it up. We apologize. We are having technical difficulty. We'll be back in 5 minutes. You got it.
You gotta sing Wiggle for us.
Wiggle-o. It's not. It's the wiggle-o.
Miss Macias.
Hey. you need to go to Montwood a little more often, Miss Macias.
It's your loss of dignity dance.
Wiggle low. Wiggle low. It's in my head.
Well, I actually paid him
It's gonna
because
be from-
I actually paid him to do this since it's probably my last meeting doing this, so prolonging it. Good job, guys. Give me another 5 minutes up here. So a teacher and principal walk into a room and
I know an even funnier one. A board president walks into the room.
with the attorney.
And they wiggle low.
Some of us will pay money for that.
In a little while, Mr. Reina is gonna have to start the entertainment.
Well, we have one, but for the benefit of the public
You
hearing.
have it, go ahead and proceed.
Well, hold on, Mr. Ganda.
Yes, sir.
We have one, but for the benefit of the audience, since it's
Yeah.
a public hearing, if we
Oh,
can
that's
get them
right.
up, it'd
You're
be
right,
better.
you're right.
Or, Gary, or we could do a motion to move this item down a little bit.
Yeah, you know what, we're gonna, let's go ahead and go down, let's move this, make a motion, move this down to after district reports. Is that fine with everybody?
Sure. Mr. Ganda, I make a motion that, oh, they're up?
No.
Oh, the reports are lost
There
too?
we go.
there it is.
There it is, there it is.
We're up now.
Yay.
So impatient.
Yes. I wanted to see the wiggle again.
Great job, guys, I'll pay you later.
Mr. Ayub, you've been to Montwood. You should know how to.
I told you,
You
lose,
were a bandad.
lose all your dignity, Dan. Yes.
Okay, moving on. So before I begin going over the federal grants, I want to go over the new Education Act, which is the Every Student Succeeds Act, which is now replacing the No Child Left Behind. The bill came into law on December 10th, 2015, signed by President Obama. The law calls for evidence-based school improvement strategies and allows states to use multiple measures, not just test scores, to gauge student success. Indicators such as student engagement, school climate and safety, and student access to and completion of advanced coursework. The new law continues its focus on closing the achievement gap for our economically disadvantaged students. The next slide here shows the federal grants we are applying for, and they are calculated at 90% of what we received this school year. So Title I Part A, we're looking at $9,976,579. Title I Part C, $143,694. Title I Part D, Subpart 2, which is our Schaefer House, $19,277. Title II Part A, $880,308. Title III Part A, LEP, $743,803. Title IV, which is new this school year, and that one's still pending to see if the state will actually approve that one, $30,000. IDEA B, $7,265,349, and IDEA Preschool, $87,515, for a total on the grants of $19,146,525. Moving on to our first federal grant, Title I Part A, Improving Basic Programs, operated by local education agencies, provides supplemental funding to state and LEAs for resources to help schools with high concentrations of students from low-income families. All our schools qualify since we all meet the 40% threshold. Calculating it at 90%, again, based on what we received last year, we're looking at receiving $9,976,575. As you can see, 12.4% goes to district parental involvement, 0.25% services to private schools students, 0.7% administration of Title I Part A programs, 0.90% district-wide professional development activities, 0.19% for services to homeless students, 0.16% services to students in facilities for delinquent youth, which is again is our Schaefer House, 3.05% for other district initiatives that you see there. 70%, which is the bulk of it, goes to Title I Part A campus allocations, and the campuses receive most of this funding. Indirect cost at 6.05%. Based on per pupil allocation of economically disadvantaged is how we distribute the funds to our campuses. This slide shows our high schools and what they would be receiving. For example, I'll just go over a few. For Socorro High School, $424,300, again, based on economically disadvantaged students. Montwood High School, $310,411. And there you can see them all down the line there. Next slide is our middle schools. Again, per pupil amount remains the same for all campuses. And you can see the funding there. Then we have our pre-K through 8. Then we go on to our elementary schools. And then we have our next grant, Title I Part C, which is for Migrant Education Program. This helped migrant students overcome the challenges of mobility, cultural and language barriers, social isolation, and other difficulties associated with a migratory lifestyle. The next slide, you'll see, again, calculations based on 90% of what we received this school year. 75.72% goes to payroll, which is for our NGS recruiter. 0.97% goes to contracted services. 11.76% for supplies and materials for the students. 5.5% for miscellaneous operating costs. And 6.05% for indirect costs again. And we have our next grant, Title I Part D, Subpart 2, once again for Schaefer House. The intent and purpose is to prevent and intervention programs for children and youth who are neglected or delinquent. Title I Part D has a primary focus of facilitating the transition and academic needs of students from correctional programs to further education or employment. We do receive very little funding for Title I Part D. You'll see it's at 90%. We're looking at $19,277, of which the majority of that funding, or all of that funding, goes to our teacher housed at the facility. Indirect cost, again, is 6.05%. Title II Part A, preparing, training, and recruiting high-quality teachers, principals, or other school leaders. The intent and purpose of this program is to provide financial assistance to districts to do the following: increase student academic achievement through improving teacher and principal quality, and increasing the number of highly qualified teachers in the classrooms and highly qualified principals and assistant principals in schools through professional development interventions. Title III Part A, our next grant, is preparing, training, and recruiting high-quality teachers, principals. Title II Part A, I'm sorry. The funding for this at 90% is $880,308. Again, the majority going to payroll, 81.87%. Contracted services at 7.56%. 0.98% supplies and materials. 3.54% for miscellaneous operating expenses. And again, 6.05% for indirect cost. Title III Part A, so our next grant, is for our English language learners. This helps to ensure that children who are limited English proficient attain English proficiency at higher levels. At 90%, we're looking at receiving $743,803. Payroll will take the majority of it, 95.08%, 2.02% for contracted services, and 0.90% for supplies and materials. The indirect cost is restricted on this grant, and the maximum is 2.0%, so that's why there's a different amount for indirect cost on this one, 2.0%. Title IV is the new grant. Again, this one's pending. State does not know if they will have the funding for this one, but if we do, this grant specific is for providing students a well-rounded education, including programs such as college and career counseling, STEM, arts, civics, international baccalaureate, advanced placement, supporting safe and healthy students with comprehensive school mental health, and supporting the effective use of technology. If they do provide this funding, it'll be approximately $30,000. They do have set percentages that we can use it for: 41.33 for contracted services, 53.33% for supplies and material, 33.33% for miscellaneous operating expenses, and again, this has a restricted indirect cost of 2.0%. Next is the Individuals with Disabilities Act, Idea B. The intent and purpose of this grant: these funds are intended to provide supplementary aids, services, and supports for students with disabilities from birth to age 22, so that instruction is provided in the least restrictive environment. Receiving 90% is $7,265,349. 89% goes to payroll, 2% to contracted services, 2.2% for supplies and material, 0.76% to miscellaneous operating expenses, and an indirect cost of 6.04%. Apologize for that. And our last grant, Individuals with Disability for Preschool. The intent and purpose of these is to provide supplementary aids for students and for services and supports for students with disabilities from birth to age 5, so that instruction is provided in the least restrictive environment as well. Calculating it at 90%, we're looking at receiving $87,515. 77.78% goes to payroll, 16.18% for supplies and material, and 6.04% for indirect cost. And that was our last grant. And this is a hearing for public discussion for the Every Student Succeeds Act for the public notice of the federally funded programs. And I open it now for any public input at this time.
If anyone would like to speak. Mrs. Nájera?
I do have a question.
Yes.
We are required on an annual basis to consult with parents, community, business members, education stakeholders on how the federal grant entitlements and planned expenditures for the coming year. Can you tell me, is that held in one big meeting with federal programs, or is it held on each campus with their SIT committee? How is the meeting held that decides on how the expenditures are going to do?
For the campus, it is held at each campus. Each campus is required to hold 2 Title I annual meetings to discuss the budget.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else like to speak?
If there are no questions or comments, I would like to request approval of the proposed budgets for the federal grants, which we just presented.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion has been made by Mr. Gonzalez, seconded by Mr. Guerra. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Let's move down to item 8, district reports. Facility report, Mr. Iington. It is Wiggle.
Good evening, President Gonda, Dr. Espinosa, members of the board. The facility report is on page 37, and I think we'll have some slides. The first report is the Aquatic Center. We actually opened the exterior pool up yesterday, I believe, for the field trips, and I believe I've got some pictures here in a minute. But the work is almost complete on everything, with the exception of the change order that y'all approved a month or so ago. We're working on that to finalize that. It doesn't affect the operation of the pool because we've got it closed off. We're also doing some modifications to the ramp that we installed, not the ramp itself, the railings, so it would comply with the accessibility standards. As you can see with this picture, the competition pool is filled and the lanes are up. Everything is complete there.
Looks pretty.
And here's a picture, I think was taken yesterday, of the activity field trip that the kids were using
Is that you out there?
yesterday.
Is that you out there?
So another picture.
The slide's working?
Yeah.
The exterior slide is working.
Waiting for you.
The second project is the HVAC upgrades at Socorro High School. We are finalizing the design with the engineer, and we'll be meeting with purchasing in order to schedule the bid dates and putting together the packages and stuff to go out for that project at Socorro High School. The new elementary school, we are in our due diligence stages where we are performing tests on the site to make sure everything complies with the environmental site assessment, the survey, and so that project is going on. We've met with our architects and our construction manager, and we've got a timeline developed once we get information on the borings. Again, you've seen this slide, and this is basically the first floor. The second story is over the end walls, the classroom on my right-hand side. That's the second story. Ufita Chavez and Montwood Middle School, we have been focusing since the spring intercession on the Montwood side, Montwood Middle side, and we are ready to meet with the administration and Mrs. Yates and her staff to move into the elementary side. And this project is going along real well. We're actually probably ahead of schedule on this, and the project is coming along. The contractor is working well in the evenings and buttoning it up before the kids come back to school the next day. And then you can see some of the work in the ceilings and the duct work and the new installation of the air units. Myrtle Cooper and Robert Rojas, the kitchen upgrades for CNS. I put a stop to that project last week because the election day, we hit a electrical line and put out power to where we were supposed to have the elections and stuff. So we had an alternate plan. We had to move them over. We got the power up and running by noon that day, but I didn't want Murphy's Law to hit since last week or this week was testing, so I stopped the work. So we're going to begin Monday with the construction of those two projects. So
That would have been good.
I believe that completes my report. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Huntington?
Yes.
None? None at all? I'm just really trying to prolong this, I really am. Thank you, Mr. Huntington.
Mr. Snyder? I mean, Mr.
You do?
Oh,
Mr. Gandara, I'm
I don't
sorry.
look like Mr. Huntington, but we're kind of there.
I just want to thank for all the work that you've done, okay? We have the best district in the city. And, you know, you have kept with the maintenance of the whole school system, you know, and it shows in every facility that you go, we offer the best for our students. And I thank you for that.
I thank you, and it's a team effort. It's, you know, we preach Team SISD. I holler at my departments, you know, Team Warehouse, Team Plumbing, and et cetera. So it's a team effort. I have good staff working under me, and I'll relay the compliment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move down to item B, technology update. Mr. Anna.
Evening, President Gandara, Dr. Espinosa, members of the board.
We have have a tradition now that every 2 years we do a climate survey of our community, of our schools, and of our employees, and this is the time to provide you some results of the survey that we just finished doing. We do use SurveyMonkey. We do the survey from January to February. We collected data for the parents. It's done in English and Spanish. We collected over 39,000 responses, and there's a breakdown of how we received the results. The elementary students, we received around 8,700 survey. On the secondary, over 20,000 of the kids were surveyed, and 6,700 parents. There was over 3,400 employees that were surveyed. If you look at that chart right there, you can tell from the year 2013 to 2017, we did increase by 15 percentage points. I can give you a breakdown in each one. If you look at the chart on the right, it says 40. Look at it, it's too far away. In 2017, we went to 42% from 39%. On the agreed, on the strongly agreed, we went from 32% to 44%. We have some safety results. We did survey the students. They did answer their questions. We went from, in 2013, one of the questions that was asked of them, that I feel safe, they went from 86% to 96%. Again, on the secondary students, we served them one of the questions, I feel safe at this, or my school, they went from 70% to 90%. The campus employees on the safety question, I feel safe and secure, they went from 79% to 93% from 2013 to 2017. On the parents' results, one of the questions, my child feels physically safe in the schoolyard or the area around the school, it went from 84% to 92%. On the student responses, one of the questions that was asked is, this school is good. It went from the elementary, which is in blue, from 87% to 96%. On the secondary students, I think this is a good school. It went from 64% to 85%. Continuation of the student questions. One of the questions that was asked, very good work is expected at my school. At the elementary, there was a 91%. It went up to 97%. The secondary question was, my teachers expect students to do their best. It went from 80% to 94%. Another question that was asked at the elementary, my teacher cares about me. It went from 92% to 97%. At the secondary, one of the questions that was asked is, my teachers care about me. It went from 62 to 83%. Some of the parents' questions that were asked in 2013 to 2017, again, adults in my schools, my child's schools have high expectations for student success. It went up from 83% to 91%. One of the other questions that was asked, as a parent, I like my child's school. It went from 83% to 91%. One other question, I was satisfied with my child's academic grades. It went from 83% to 90%. Some of the questions that were asked of our employees, personnel work together as a team. At 2013, it was 72%. It went up to 86%. The overall climate or atmosphere at my school is positive and helps students learn. It went up from 68% to 86%. Again, that's just some of the results that we have. We are the next steps that we do is we publicize it by achieving success as a team, which is next Friday. We're gonna do some press releases and it'll be on our website, and then our assistant superintendents will be talking with their principals to put it on their website also. If there's any questions?
Is there any questions?
Yes, Mr. Gandhi.
Mr. Ayub.
So the climate survey, is this Dr. Espinosa's climate survey? Is this something that technology did as a climate survey? When you first introduced it, I thought you did a technology climate survey.
No, this is the district's, Dr. Espinosa's climate survey, or all of us, our climate survey.
Okay, so the overall climate survey.
Overall climate survey.
Okay, so it wasn't, you weren't assessing efficacy of our technology and use?
No.
No, that wasn't it. Okay, never mind. Thank you.
Any more questions? Then thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Let's move on to item number 9, consent agenda. Is there any items to be pulled?
Yes, Mr. Gandara. F8, please.
Item F8.
I'm sorry, E8 and E9.
8. E9. Any others? Need a motion, please?
Motion to approve consent agenda with the exception of E8, E9, and F8.
Second.
Motion has been made by Mrs. Rodriguez, seconded by Mrs. Nájera. Any further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item E8.
I don't know who wants to address this, but I had questions on the performance of this existing contract, and we're trying to renew here. And I understood we had a number of concerns last time, and did we resolve that, or why are we renewing?
Correct. To my understanding, they are one, or the only ones that bid. They do provide great services. The only thing is during certain events, there's just many events throughout the city. The one thing that we are doing is we are reaching out to others. For example, currently we have a second entity on board to help us with that. The other piece of it is we're looking at possibly some of our trainers that are retired, and those are conversations that we're having to see if that's something that we could contract out to them. It's just the matter of there are so many events in the El Paso area and not enough providers providing this service.
Now, if we agree on this contract this time, they are going to assure some, because at one point they weren't showing up to a whole lot of things, and they wanted us to be understanding that they just didn't have enough staff, but they did bid on this contract, and so there's an expectation people would be there.
And they have improved from that point. Now what we have is we have that electronic system on a daily or on a weekly basis. We're able to go in, it has the provider there, and we're able to justify and verify. If there is a CAL installation, they inform us immediately, and then we're able to help and provide, and they do provide other entities to help support. So that has improved as far as the communication piece.
And we're not augmenting with some of our staff at this point that is qualified to be there?
Yes, we are.
We are.
Some of our nurses, they step up to the plate and they help us on a daily basis sometimes, depending on the event and sport.
And have we looked at staffing? Long ago, before even I was on the board, Socorro ISD did hire part-time people to cover some of these events from other services, fire departments, ambulance services, and so forth. We went away from that and then hired nobody, and then we started bringing this contract on board. Have we considered augmenting that with some temporary part-time employees?
Yes, sir, and that's currently what our athletic department is doing. Those conversations are occurring so that we could get them on board with our financial services as far as the contracts for next year, for 17-18.
But it'd be better, go ahead, ma'am, sorry.
The only thing is they do not come out for this bid. This bid item is unique, and please correct me if I'm wrong, to where not many entities will bid out for this, but these are the other additional pieces that we have to bring on board to help them.
So on our bid, do we have a performance standard? They will be able to cover so many events? Or we kind of say, today we have 20 events and let's see how many you can cover. Did they give us a performance measure that they would assure they could at least cover 8 or 10 events in a given day?
No, that is a component that was not actually written on the solicitation, but under the procurement methods, we're able to utilize the different options that Mrs. Macias has indicated. Keep in mind that the requests that we have in place at $52,500, that is what's budgeted. So therefore, in the past, we've rarely hit that dollar amount because maybe some events are covered internally through other different support areas. But we do have a mechanism in place to where if we do need to reach out to some other state entity or anything like that, we should be able to maybe come back with an MOU or something else to accommodate that need. But it is something that we are going to meet with them and track. And as you heard, there is a mechanism now in place that they're able to notify us in advance if they're not able to.
Well, I don't want to delay this thing, but I think if we're going to cover the events, we need to find mechanisms how we're going to augment. I realize El Paso's isolated. I would agree with you. There's one big company, ProAction. The other companies are pretty small. They're willing to handle a little CPR class or something. But at the end of the day, I think we need to be clear if we're going to provide support or not to the campuses. And so I'm not going to hold this thing up from my perspective, but maybe we can continue the discussion here and augment this so that we can lock it down, because The problem happened mid-last year, and I'm not sure it's solved yet. If we could, please. Thank you.
Mr. Gondeta, and
Mr. Guerra?
what Mr. Abe said, I attest to that, 'cause I made you a couple of phone calls that some of the games, we had no medic out there. Matter of fact, one of the games yesterday, my kids were playing baseball and soccer, and we only had one medic for both games, and he showed up late. And there's been a couple of games I've gone to, we had no medic at all. So I don't feel comfortable bringing this up right now because I don't think it's accurate.
Mr. Nakada?
Ms. Macias or Mr. Garcia, so just for clarification, I tend to get confused when we get these bids. The bid is an agreement for us to basically say it's our notification that it's likely we're going to spend these $52,500, out there for people to respond to the bid, right? And then, so it doesn't mean that we're spending this money. It doesn't mean that we're allocating this money. It doesn't mean that we're setting it aside. In the end, they don't agree to show up at 1,000 games and we pay them $52,500. All they're saying is, our estimate is we're going to spend this much money. Who wants to provide the service? And they responded. That's it, right? So even if we approve this bid, the only thing it allows us to do is it allows each of the schools or the athletic department to spend money in accordance with this bid. It doesn't prohibit us from seeking services from other folks. It doesn't prohibit us from evaluating the effectiveness of this particular company. It doesn't. The only thing it allows us to do is to say, this is what we're going to spend. Who's going to give us the best deal for our dollars, right?
Correct, and they get paid for services rendered.
So if they don't show up, they don't get paid. I know that there's more to it than that. We certainly, there's certainly a service level quality that we should consider. If they don't ever show up, then what's the purpose of having them reply to the bid anyways, right? But that's all the bid is allowing us to do, right?
And I think that's certainly the concern that Mr. Ayub has, is that do we have 100% coverage at our middle school campuses?
Well, and once we have a contract with this company, can we just call anybody else? Because then what's the point of having a contract with these folks? Well, if we call somebody else, will they say, hold on, this is my contract, why are you bringing other people?
Well,
One thing is the money allocation, which Mr. Nahid is talking about, but I'm also concerned, are we entering into a contract with somebody that can't fulfill it anyway?
So we have a process within the procurement cycle that indicates that if they're not performing, then we notate that, and we then have the ability of going out and taking care of that service. The problem with this is that the vendors that bid, there's only one that bid it out.
Right.
So, but we need to show record that we're doing our effort, we want to implement our contract, and if they don't come through on their contract, then we have a recourse to record that, show it on the file, and then go out and get other resources, which is something that athletics has actually gone out and find out, okay, what else is out there? It could be our internal nurses, it could be some other, maybe an MOU with a state agency or some other local entity, but we need to take that process, need to make sure that process is followed.
Mr. Gandara?
Mr. Nakada?
So, Mr. Garcia, I mean, it sounds to me, based on comments and observations too, that we are having coverage issues. So, what would serve as an opener for that particular contract? I mean, do we measure, are they there at 90% of our games? Do we have contract criteria that states they have to service 95% of our games? Is it 90? Is it 80? I mean, does it have to get as low as 40% before?
We do not have any performance guarantees in this contract. This contract has never had that, kind of like our health insurance or anything like that.
Maybe we should.
But it's something that maybe, we need to start monitoring and reviewing quarterly and maybe revamp
So in that
our
case,
solicitation or.
this contract's open, right? I'm going to apply for this contract. I mean, to me, it's, here's free money, and if you show up, now you still get paid. I mean, we're not holding anybody accountable. I mean, really, we're not. We're just basically giving somebody some money, and if you show up, you show up. If you don't, you don't. You got paid.
Mr. Garcia, when does this, I'm sorry, Mr.
Nakada.
Mr. Garcia, when does this contract expire?
Allow me a second, please.
I think,
Actually,
Mr. Garcia and Ms. Macias, the resounding concern here is while I certainly understand that at some point it's better to have a contract with somebody than not to have a contract with anybody, if we don't have a contract with anybody, then each campus, each event knows that there is no service to be provided, and they pursue the service themselves. They make sure that somebody's going to be there. On the other hand, if we have an agreement with, we know, that there's, some absenteeism sometime, then the campus doesn't know. They're expecting somebody to show up, and at the very last minute, nobody shows up, and nobody's planned for anything because somebody is supposed to show up. So, I don't know what's better for us to, are you asking us, I guess is the request from administration for us to approve this contract because your belief is to have somebody is better than to have nobody? Is it asking us to approve this and your commitment is to continue to identify other resources so that we can have 100% coverage? Or are we going to approve this and then it's going to be forgotten and we're going to hear the exact same things over and over again? And the danger is, that we're going to have an injury at an event and nobody's going to be there. And the expectation is that somebody's always there. So, I don't know which one is actually better.
So in the past, and just to answer your question, our current contract expires May 31st, 2017.
Mr. Blanco?
A better way to look at this is that it's on-call services. So you need them, you make a call. They don't get paid if they don't show up. So if they're not there, they're not getting paid.
So who's taking care of to make sure that if they do show up?
That's something that Mr. Nunn does on a weekly basis, so he gets that information, and what we do is he does provide that information to each of the campuses if there is an unfilled slot, and that way they do have the heads up to where we look at our nurses and we try to get somebody else in place. It's just those last calls, like you had mentioned, the ones that they don't show up at the last minute. But that is something, again, that has improved slightly from where we began at the beginning of the year.
Okay, so apologize. Real quick question is, how much are we paying them per game then? If this is not, how does it work?
It's $30, isn't it?
I don't want to state the number.
Well, and there's an hour minimum per game, right? 3 hour minimum when we call them out?
We're $27.50 per hour.
$27.50 per hour with minimum 3 hours?
President Gonda, members of the board, since this contract is going to expire this month, we're requesting your approval to just approve it, and then we'll set up meetings with agenda items, both with facilities and finance, to discuss your concerns and see if we can go out again or see if we can solicit some additional contracts. I just want to make sure that we've got something covered before,
Mr. Gandara?
Mr. Gonzalez.
before it expires.
Yeah, it appears to me that this is not working, okay? Ultimately, it's the kid that is going to get hurt. I think we need to throw this out and start over and try and find something that is going to work for us.
Mr. Nakara.
Yeah, I have a question actually for Mr. Blanco. Mr. Blanco, I don't know how familiar you are with the contract, but if...
Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's time for Gabby's medication.
A lot of good that's going to do. You're here, she's there.
I know. Mr. Blanco, are you comfortable that if we approve this bid tonight, that the contract allows an exit for us?
Yes, there are performance measures in all our standard terms and conditions.
Well, not just performance measures, but we can give 30-day notice?
We have built-in 30-day notice provisions, and also if they are failing to perform to our standards, it allows us to issue notice that we'll cancel the contract. I'm not aware, and I wasn't aware, of there being an ongoing issue with the service provider, but if there is one, it's perfectly acceptable to come back with another plan and design at a future meeting, but to have this in place so that you have at least some access to a provider for the necessity of games that you have going on now. That's something that's not going to end.
So while we look at that, I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made by Mr. Ayub, seconded by Mr. Nakana. Any further discussion?
Just,
All those in, oh, Mr.
I'm
Nakana.
sorry. Being that we have the information and that Mr. Nunn collects it, I think it'd be good, for the determination if we could see, Dr. Espinosa, what their actual performance is for us, how many games they actually show up at, and how many we do call on them, and they don't. That's it.
Any more further discussion?
We'll get that information.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Oh, sorry. And one
no.
nay. And just going on to item
E9.
E9.
Mr. Gandara, on
Mr.
item
Ayub.
E9, we had some discussion in finance yesterday. I kind of just wanted to clarify something. The wording here, it says solicitation to purchase and/or lease printers, and I understood this was a lease program for the printers and copiers at the campus. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And the number of printers that will be established at each campus, that'll be determined by the campus administrator or whom?
At the campus level, based on their funding availability and geographical area of the buildings. Some of the buildings that have different settings, and so it's just based on their availability of funds.
What do you mean funding? I think we fund this, right? I mean, we provide them a copier and printer. What do you mean by funding?
Some schools have they allocate funding differently when it comes to equipment. They all don't get the same funding, right? So some campuses might elect to get a high-end copy machine, others might elect to get 2 medium-sized machines, so it's all site-based management.
But I thought we were going to assess that, and if this is a campus that needs a high-efficient machine, high speed, high volume, that's what they were going to get if somebody felt they needed something less. But the purpose of this contract was to lock it up district-wide, and we were going to fund it. Not that see, this is where some of the problem has been at the campus level. Campus administrators have gone out and bought their own machines or leased other machines because they felt that they weren't keeping up with the demand, and I thought this contract was supposed to eliminate that.
Correct, and so in the past, because we've used different methods, we're going to eliminate that method, establish this master agreement where the IT department is going to assist each of the campuses to determine what is their need, then implement these standard equipment that has been reviewed and analyzed and tested, so that then they make those right decisions as to how many, what kind, and where the locations of these devices will be.
And the replacement of these machines is going to take place as current leases expire. Is that
Correct, yes, sir, so that we can fulfill our current agreements that we have in place, and so as they come to be renewed, that's when IT is going to be involved in addressing those needs.
And for clarity, and I know we spoke about this yesterday, so when a machine breaks down, there is a performance measure on this agreement that they will send a repairman out within 4 hours from the time they're called?
Correct. There is a
excluding overnight
performance.
type
There
of
is
thing.
a performance in this particular contract for service. If the equipment is not cannot be repaired, replacement will be sent immediately.
Okay.
This contract does have local warehousing, and so
that helps.
It has all those different aspects.
And the performance measures on this contract will be monitored by whom?
On a quarterly basis, the contract will be that we meet quarterly to review some of the reports and some of the actual utilization of the equipment, to look at downtime, et cetera.
Now, is this going to be better than what we have now? Because of all the million things that a school district has to worry about, this seems to sometimes be a rub in staff and teacher sides when the machine just doesn't work. And so, will this be better than what machines we have now?
Well, certainly when we standardize to certain equipment, instead of having 300 different types of devices, that's one thing, to kind of centralize this. And the other thing is the agreement has built in unlimited copies to where there will be no additional overages, charges. Certainly, we feel that we have the buying power when we have 300 plus machines, that we want to take advantage of that, and that's what this solicitation is supposed to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No other questions, motion to approve.
Second.
A motion has been made by Mr. Ayub, second by Mrs. Nakana. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item F8. This is Rodriguez.
Mr. Gandara, I had a couple of questions. This was a memorandum of understanding that was presented to us in curriculum and instruction.
Yes, ma'am.
And a couple of questions that I had is, I didn't feel that this MOU truly lays out the processes that we're gonna have to follow and what Project Vida Health Center is supposed to do. One of the concerns that I brought up in CNI was, it says here that PVHC will develop protocols and procedures for referrals. I haven't seen that. And one of my biggest concerns is if we approve this MOU, we are allowing an outside agency to work with our very, very, very vulnerable students. This is counseling, and as we discussed in curriculum and instruction, there's a lot that we need to protect our students. As much as I agree, it would be very nice to bring in a licensed counselor to provide those services. I thought we had discussed having those processes and procedures already in place so we can truly see what that was going to look like and how, what our true responsibilities are and how are we going to protect our students. Again, one of the biggest concerns that I had is if this person's going to be housed at our campuses, people are going to think that those are our employees. And I'm very interested in making sure we have processes in place that are going to protect our children and our families. Not that I think Project Vida, it won't, but what is the referral process going to look like? What are they expecting from us? Here it just says, all SISD needs to do is provide a space for each campus at no cost to Project Vida. Ensure collaboration with counseling and nursing staff at each campus. Develop protocols to ensure therapist-student connection during school hours. And develop logistics to ensure LPC is at full capacity. But where does it say that we're the ones that are going to make the referrals? Where does it say how that referral process will take place? I see the FERPA compliance, but these are some of the concerns that, and I understand they're the ones that are writing this. They're the ones that are asking to be able to be housed at our specific campuses. However, I still don't feel this has enough information for the protection of our students.
Yes, ma'am. We did go back and met with Project Vida and their team. Ms. McCaven and Project Vida worked on the MOU so it could have those items. It was changed. I believe you were not provided with a new MOU that we have drafted.
Yeah, because this kind of
yes, ma'am,
like
and
we
did.
Saw.
We did make those changes. We are providing it to the attorney to make sure that it is reviewed and sent to you with the changes that you suggested and more, because we felt it needed more information, not just on the protocols that you mentioned, but even on others, on the handling of information, the handling of our students, as you mentioned, and the protection of our students. So we did that. We included all that information in the new MOU, and we would like to present you that MOU once it's presented to Mr. Blanco for his approval, so that way you can see what it looks like.
Okay, so since my thought is we don't have the correct MOU, so we shouldn't vote on it tonight because we don't have the complete information. Is that correct? Okay.
We're just gonna, do we feel comfortable with pulling the item?
We can do
we can make a motion to postpone it to a future future meeting when we have the current document.
Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we postpone the vote on this until we have the proper documentation.
Second.
Motion
What
has
he
been-
said.
And we'll do
Motion
that.
has been
Thank
made
you.
by Mrs. Rodriguez, seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go down to item 10A, if I'm right. Consider and take action to canvass the results of the general trustee election of May 6, 2017. Ms. Macias.
President Candida, Dr. Espinosa, and members of the board, the election returns for the election held on May 6, 2017 have been received and duly certified by the El Paso County Elections Department. You have before you a copy of the official final returns of the election and a copy of order canvassing election returns and declaring results of election. The election is complete and we are prepared to take action on the results. Are there any questions about the election results?
You got lucky.
If there are no questions, please move to item 10B.
Okay, consider and take action on order and certificate of order canvassing the election results of the general trustee election of May 6, 2017.
Motion to
Mrs.
approve.
Macias.
Yes, President Candida, Dr. Espinosa, members of the board. An official copy of the election returns has been provided to the Socorro Independent School District, and those returns are ready and prepared to be made a part of the minutes of this meeting. The results as shown on the returns are as follow. The resident qualified voters of the Socorro Independent School District, by casting more votes for the following candidate than any other candidate for District 4, did elect Paul Guerra. With 330 votes to the Socorro ISD Board of Trustees. Cynthia A. Nájera was unopposed and duly elected to the position of Trustee District 2. Angelica Rodriguez was unopposed and duly elected to the position of Trustee District 3. And Gary Gondera was unopposed and duly elected to the position of Trustee District 5. Of the Socorro ISD Board of Trustees.
I'll give you guys your money a little bit later, okay?
Are there any questions?
Any questions? Anybody like to say anything?
If there are no questions? All right. If there are no questions, may I have a motion regarding this item?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made by Mr. Guerra, seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. Any further discussion? Before we go on, I do want to say something. I'm truly blessed to be up here with these wonderful people. And I get to spend another 4 years up here. So thank you, all of you down there, for believing in us. I hope we are making you all proud again. And thank all of you for being who you guys are, because I don't think I would have stayed if this board isn't the way we are. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank all of you for being who you are. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Whew, where are we at? See,
In the boardroom.
statement and oath of office. The new elected board members for single districts 2, 3, 4, and 5 will be sworn in. Where do you want us?
One at a time, or I'll get
All of us.
Do the wiggle. It got caught in my throat thing. Wiggle. Oh.
Nice to see you here today.
Look it, it's the barbershop quartet.
And, no, that's not it.
Nobody said I was going to have to see something. I needed something to do. Yeah, that might work.
You actually say your name, don't say it, I state.
Oh, okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations first and foremost
Thank
on
you.
your unopposed elections and your victory on your election.
Thank
And it's
you.
an honor for me to swear you in today. So if you will, raise your right hand and repeat after me. We'll start with I, and each one will please state your name.
I, Cynthia Ann Nájera,
I, Angelica Rodriguez,
I, Paul Guerra.
Aye, Gary Gandara.
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of trustee district
of Trustee District 3
4.
5.
for the Socorro Independent School District.
We can count.
School district.
Board of Trustees
Board of Trustees
of the State of Texas.
of the State of Texas,
And will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dr. Espinosa will
How about
now
a dance?
Dr. Espinosa will now issue the certificates of election.
Miss Cynthia Nájera. Miss Angélica Rodríguez.
I'll go get him, Dr. Espinosa. I'll get him for you.
I got mine.
I'll get mine.
I get mine.
Paul Guerra. And Mr. Gary Gandara.
Before we allow everyone to come give you your congratulations, if I can have each of you come and sign your oath of office very quickly.
And mine
Thank
was
you.
signed by Paul Guerra.
Almost there, sir, almost there.
Is that wind?
Yeah, nasty out there, man. Gonna blow my car off the parking lot.
We're supposed to, they have died by now.
Yeah, but then it's supposed to pick up again tomorrow. It's okay, I'm gonna be inside. I'm painting the kitchen, so it'll be a nice sandy finish.
Yeah. Just open the windows and you sandblast, right?
Sandblasted, yeah. I'll do it. At least it wasn't something weird. If you're trying to make a run, I'll be back.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
You got a collection of it.
Mr. Gondar, can I say a few words?
Mr. Guerra, go ahead, sir.
Well, since I was the only one opposed, so I guess I could speak first, right? First of all, I want to thank God. Second of all, I would like to thank David Morales and Dennis Red for running a great campaign and working on the issues of the district. They ran because they wanted to be part of a great district. So I applaud them for that. Next, I'd like to thank my wife and my kids, Paul, Monica, and Joseph, and I. For putting up with me these last 3 months, and believe me, since we've been married, I guess, and we're gonna be married. Actually, our anniversary is the 29th of May, so happy anniversary, baby, love you. 18 years.
Woo!
But taking my boys out there, my wife being behind the scene, making the phone calls, taking people to vote, just being behind me and coming to these meetings as a board member. And my wife has to take care of the kids because she loves doing that, so I applaud her for that. So I thank you for that. And also, I'd like to thank the organizations, AFT and SCA. Thank you. I'd like to applaud both of you for standing up for public education, because that's what we're all here for, public education. So thank both of you guys. I also would like to thank the board members for standing out to the day of election, holding up signs and making the phone calls. Thank you guys, it meant a lot. Appreciate that. A long day out there. Last but not least, all the people that were able to help out. I can't name everyone. Everybody was able to help out, holding up signs, making the phone calls. The day it was raining out there, just walking the streets. It takes a team. It took a team. And you know what? This board's been here for a long time. And the average board member has been here 7 years. And we're going to be here for another 4 more years, each and every one of us. So the district's going in the right direction. And I believe when people voted, I don't think they voted for Paul Guerra, even though my name was on the ballot. I think they voted because the district is headed in the right direction. Because of our superintendent, because of the board members, because of administration, and because of the teachers. Because of the teachers.
Absolutely.
So, this win, I mean, actually, people were telling me, how'd you do it? I mean, how's it going? And, you know, I was nervous since day one. I think I'm still nervous. It was still a high because you don't know how it's going to go. But winning 50%, I think that speaks immensely of our district. This win wasn't just for me. I believe it was for everybody. So thank you all for supporting us. Supporting me. Thank you.
Mrs. Nájera, Ms. Rodriguez.
Go ahead.
I am, like Mr. Guetta said, and I think each one of us feel it, I am blessed to be a part of this board. It is one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done in my life. And yes, it is this team of 8. And it's not just us, it is our entire team, SISD, because we couldn't do it without every one of you. We are a team, and I love that that is how we conduct ourselves as a team, that we are all in this together, doing what is very best for our students. And I'm just blessed to have 4 more years with y'all. Thank you.
Mrs. Rodriguez.
Like Mrs. Nájera and Mr. Guerra said, it takes a team, and truly we are Team SISD. We would not be up here without you all's work your support, and the awesome things that you all do. Cabinet, teachers, staff, everybody, thank you all so much for entrusting us to be up here and help our superintendent and our district make good decisions for the students in our community in SISD. Thank you again for entrusting us, and we are so proud to be able to serve you for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Again, I want to thank everybody here, all our associations. You guys have really backed us up, and I really do appreciate both of you from the bottom of my heart. Without you guys, I mean, we wouldn't be where we're at. You really do make a big difference in our district. This year was rough for me at the beginning. My father, and so most people don't know in here, he was diagnosed with cancer back in January. So everybody up here knew that I was kind of down, and most of you didn't see me in places that I should have been because I was too busy helping take care of my father. I didn't really think I was going to be able to do a campaign. By the grace of God and everybody here, I didn't draw an opponent, and so I got to thank the good Lord for that and everybody here. But since that day, beginning of May, my father now is cancer-free. Right, so, May has been, April was my birthday, and May has been a beautiful month for me. Father cancer-free, winning, not drawing an opponent, and also finding out that I'm going to be a father. My child will be born December 25th. So it should be a good Christmas. So again, thank you, all of you, for allowing me to be a part of this group. And let's move on to the next item.
President Gandara, if I may, I echo what Mr. Guerra, Mr. Gandara, Ms. Nahara, Ms. Rodriguez said. It's an amazing team. Mr. Ayub, Mr. Gonzalez, and Mr. Nahara, all 8 of us, And like they said, our district would not be where it's at if it wasn't for our awesome teachers, bus drivers, custodians, all 6,000 employees, our awesome students. Yes. Our awesome students. We have 700 more students this year than what we had last year. We keep growing. It's because people want to be part of the district. Not only families wanting to send their children to our school district, but adults wanting to come and work in our school district. And again, these 7 individuals up here, we would not be here if it wasn't for them. There's research out there that says, the life of a superintendent is about seeing some 2.5, 3 years, 4 years, so I'm in my 5th year. 5th year. And you do your homework research. Well, the reason a superintendent leaves is many times because of some board members that just give him or her just a hard time. My wife, who was at home obviously with my 2 little ones. Most of y'all know our story. I had never been to El Paso, Texas, until I flew in for that first interview, and interviewed by the board here. And the first thing you would hear, oh my God, I told my friends and family back in Houston, we're moving to El Paso. Oh my God, so dangerous over there, because they would connect it to Juarez back in 2012, and I said, no, we've done our research. It's real safe in El Paso. Plus, I tell them, who the heck are we to talk? I say it's my hometown, but I'm going to say it anyway, about a safe city coming from Houston, Texas, all right? But I say that to say this. The reason my wife and I are loving this is the people of El Paso, but the people of Socorro ISD. And again, I cannot thank the board members, an awesome cabinet, our principals, our assistant principals, all our 6,000 plus employees. You know, in the past, and I've had conversations with individuals. You know, Mr. Guerra told me about a month ago, you know, hey, Joe, you're going to be the superintendent that stayed here the longest, you know, because the one before you left for a better job, the one before that was a year, the one before that, I think 3 years, you know, and so on and so forth, you know.
I apologize to interrupt. He didn't really leave for a better job. He just did us a favor.
Let me change subject. No, but you know, but I'm just fortunate, and again, hey, look forward to working with the entire team for many, many years, and I can't thank all of the associations. You know, all of the associations. Thank y'all so much. Okay, thank you. Oh, lastly, forgot one thing. He wasn't here when we started the board meeting when I had my superintendent comments, and I always recognize the board member's birthday. And Trustee Paul Guerra will be having a birthday on May 23rd. So on behalf of Team SISD, I want to be the first to officially wish Mr. Guerra a very happy birthday. You know, Mr. Guerra, the good news is that birthdays are good for your health, Mr. Guerra, because research shows that people who have more birthdays live longer. Okay. So, Mr. Guerra, they're good for you, Mr. Guerra.
Man, there's a few of you that took a while to get that joke.
That concludes.
Okay. Item 10D, consider and take action to elect and install board officers for Board of Trustees. Thank God. Oh, my God. Number 1, Board President. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Paul Guerra as Board President.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made by Mrs. Nájera, seconded by Mr. Gonzalez to make Mr. Guerra Board President. Any further discussion? I mean, let's take all night on this one. I mean, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
One opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Guerra. You can try doing a better job than me. I mean, Mr. Guerra, this is all yours.
Yeah, we do it after.
We wait.
No, I'm doing it now. So, here you go. Sir, you're board president, sir.
Nobody's moving me from my chair.
Thank you.
Number 2, Board Vice President.
I make the motion for Ms. Cindy Nájera.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gálvez, second by Ms. Rodriguez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Nájera.
Thank you.
Board Secretary.
I'd like to make a motion for Michael Nájera to be named Board Secretary.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Rodriguez, second by Mr. Gandara. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes.
Mr. Nájera, they did move you from the chair.
I spoke too soon, huh?
Told ya.
Get out of my seat.
That means
Now
I
we
have
need
to
them
move
to
you.
wiggle, right? This is I guess everybody's wiggling around here.
These are
Musical name tag. Hey, man, that means you and I are stuck together over here, right? You and I are stuck together over here.
Yeah.
Signed it to see from and you'll read this, ma'am? I know Paul told me to start. Oh, okay.
Look what I got. A new
I'm
certificate
just
just
doing
for
what he
me.
told me to do.
Before we move on to new business, I'd like to congratulate and thank Mr. Gandara for his year of service for President of SISD Board. Thank you, Mr. Gandara.
Again, thank you all of you for making it a wonderful year.
We will be moving on to business 11, a new business 11A. And before we move on, we have some speakers. So before we announce speakers, we greatly appreciate those individuals who have requested to speak to the board in regard to a specific agenda item. We are bound by certain time constraints in order to cover all the items on the agenda, and therefore must limit presentations to 5 minutes. Please respect the rights of others in your presentation. By law, the board cannot take action upon or discuss any item which is not posted on tonight's agenda. But we will give all presentations our serious consideration. Thank you. Let's proceed. The first speaker for item 11A, Angelica Soto.
Good evening, President Gandara, Dr. Espinosa, and members of the board.
That's why I love you, see?
I'm never living this one down, right?
I really did pay her to do that one.
Yeah, remember Mr. Reina? Okay, all right. Do-over. Okay, do-over. All right. Good evening, President Guerra, Dr. Espinosa, and members of the board. Thank you. I'm speaking, congratulations to everyone. I'm very happy that we kept our team together, and we love working with y'all. And so, congratulations for doing such a great job.
Thank you.
I'm speaking today to advocate for your approval for a 3% raise for all SISD employees. Also, when it becomes financially feasible, I also encourage SISD to raise the minimum wage to $10 and raise all hourly salary scales to reflect the raise in the minimum wage. I was fortunate to have spent my entire career working for a district who has always cared for its employees, not only when it comes to students, to salaries, but also when it has come to procuring the best in healthcare for all employees. We greatly appreciate the investment the district is making to guarantee that employees will be minimally impacted with healthcare costs. I also want to thank the board members and district employees for always collaborating with our association to ensure that working conditions are continuously improved for all employees and that all employees are treated fairly and justly. Again, please approve a 3% raise for all employees. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Soto. Next individual, Tommy Hill.
How you guys doing today? I'd like to congratulate you guys on your victories. I'd like to please say that we do deserve a 3% raise. We come in when it's dark in the winter, we leave when it's dark. We work harder than any other district around. And our money is not even up to theirs. Mr. Ayub, you asked about the money. Last year, this letter got a 2% raise and a $500 addition to it. This year, they're already said to be getting a $450 for Christmas and 2% maybe more. Last year we got a 2%. Okay, we dealt with that. This year we should at least get the 3%. And I do agree that everybody should be making at least $10 an hour. To make a living without making $10 an hour, that's pretty hard. I don't know how you can do it. What they were trying to make us believe on the day of that, you just can't make a living at $10 an hour. We work harder than any other district around, and we should be paid better than other districts. We make $13.11 to start. EPISD makes $13.25 to start. Isleta makes $13.63 to start. And then Canutillo makes $15 an hour to start. We should be number one. We're the best district. We should be paid the best. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next individual is Elizabeth Ramos.
Good evening, President Guerra, Dr. Espinosa, and members of the board. This is my first time ever speaking in a board meeting, so I do want to thank you for this opportunity, for letting me speak here tonight. I am a proud employee of the school district, the best school district, I want to say, in the state of Texas. I am currently a social worker clerk assigned to America's High School under the special ed department. I've worked for the district for 17 years. And I'm also a proud parent. I have 2 children that have graduated from this district as well. And as a single divorced parent, it has been a struggle for myself living paycheck by paycheck. I truly love my job. I love what I do. And I love the people that I work with. I know that there are many opportunities for other jobs, maybe in other areas, other places, but I've chosen to stay here. I've chosen to stay with Socorro because I truly enjoy and I love what I do. I know there are countless stories, maybe similar to mine, or employees that are facing even more challenging situations, but I know that a 3% raise would greatly impact my situation. Currently, I can't afford a brand new car, much less even a used one, but what I have still gets me to work and back, and I'm grateful for that, and I thank God every day. I have a granddaughter, and it's hard, especially with the hot summer months coming in, to put her in that vehicle, take her to places, sometimes I need to take care of things, and it's really, really hard. Knowing that, I have a vehicle, what I have, I am thankful, but it has no air conditioning, so I gotta make the best of it. Now, my job requires me to travel also to the Ed Center. Sometimes I have to make home visits, and I have to visit other campuses, which is putting a wear and tear in my vehicle. The cost of living is going up. Our medical insurance is going up, so that impacts my pay as well. And though the contribution to our health insurance is greatly appreciated, but it's not money that I take home to my family. So I also have to put my health aside. I can't afford the co-payments all the time, so I try to see what I can do getting over-the-counter medication. So I do ask the board to please take my situation and those of others in consideration for the 3% raise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Veronica Hernandez.
Good evening, President Guerra, Dr. Espinosa, and board members. My name is Veronica Hernandez. I am president of the Socorro American Federation of Teachers. We are here tonight to ask your support for the salary proposal that we emailed to you. As you know, Socorro ISD did a very thorough proposal, and we strongly believe that it's possible. So we're here tonight to ask your support. And given the district's historic overstating of expenses, the anticipated increase in revenue, and the very large fund balance of nearly 40%, all point to room to go above the 1.5% or 2% proposed by administration during the salary workshops. Therefore, Socorro ISD proposes at least a 3% across the board pay raise and a living wage, which we have constantly advocated for, and this won't be an exception. We believe there should be an internal minimum wage for every school employee working with ISD of a minimum of $10 per hour. Plus, one thing that we always forget, we need to assure that we include our cross guards monitors in this raise. These employees are always forgotten. They work just as hard as everyone, many times out in the rain, wind, or any other crazy weather that we have here in El Paso. Socorro ISD prides itself in being the #1 district, so it is only right that we be the #1 on salaries. Our teachers, support staff, and our district employees go over and beyond to make this district stand out. As John F. Kennedy said, as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. We urge you to reciprocate the gesture of appreciation and support by compensating our employees with a well-deserved raise of a minimum of 3%. Thank you.
That concludes our speakers. Now move on to 11, new business. 11A, consider approval of the 2017-18 Employee Compensation Plan. Mr. Rudy Campoya.
Good evening, President Guerra, Dr. Espinosa, board members. First of all, congratulations on your office. My name is Rudy Campoya, Chief Human Resources Officer for the school district, and tonight I'm going to be presenting the 2017-18 compensation plan for all of our employees. During the past few months, you all have attended workshops with Mr. Reza and the team where we provided you information relevant to the budget. Tonight, I'll be presenting what the administration will recommend as far as a compensation plan for all of our employees for the 2017-18 school year. In addition, I'm also going to provide you information as far as health benefit employee premium costs that are compared with other school districts in the Region 19 area. I would like to thank a few people that contributed to the plan, Mr. Reza and Ms. Susan Olson. Also in HR, Ms. Selena Stiles and Ms. Sarang for working diligently to provide you all with, or developing an affordable and competitive compensation plan across all paid families. I also like to thank various stakeholders and of course our associations for providing input as to the compensation plan, and also Mr. Carmona in HR for doing the research as far as the benefit premium costs from other school districts. I want to point out that this compensation plan will provide competitive salaries and will also assist us in recruiting and retaining highly qualified faculty and staff. So currently, administration is recommending a 3% increase off the midpoint, inclusive of the step for all employees paid on the teacher and the counselor salary scale. This includes teachers, nurses, librarians, speech therapists, and of course counselors, diagnosticians. The teacher increase will range between $1,586 annually to, I'm sorry, there is a typo, it should be $1,917. So there's an extra one there, apologies. That would be much better. But the comma is in the right place. Counselors, their increase will range from $1,671 to
Don't get nervous, Mr. Campoya. It's okay. Everybody understands it's a typo.
Are they raising the signs already?
Mr. Reza's turning beet red over there.
This is a linear graph that shows you where we stand as far as years of experience in increments of 5 compared to other districts in the Region 19 area. Our line is a red line, so you can see that it's steadily increasing in every 5-year increments. And towards the end, with our experienced teachers at 25 years, we beat every school district in the Region 19 area. This is the actual figures that are associated with that linear graph. The double asterisks are showing what the districts are proposing or have gotten approved for the 17-18 school year. So for example, for Socorro ISD, we are proposing those salaries that are there in increments of 5 years. And Isleta ISD has already adopted that same, or those amounts that you see on that graph. The other three school districts have not adopted any increase as of now, so those figures for the other three districts are current for 16-17. So Socorro ISD, as you can see, will be at starting pay for 0-year experienced teachers at $48,293. However, if you go down to the 25-year mark, our experienced teachers will be the highest paid in the Region 19 area. And I don't anticipate the other districts going higher than that, but we will see when they propose it. Clint ISD does not have 25 years under pay scale. That's why you see a blank in that field. For all other pay families, we are also proposing and recommending a 3% increase off the midpoint of the respective pay scale. That includes paraprofessionals, auxiliary, which includes temporary crossing guards and temporary cafeteria monitors, our technology, and administrative employees. Now these are graphs. The next three graphs I'm going to show your slides are showing you how we compare ourselves to other districts as far as health benefits. The first slide is a premier plan. So Socorro ISD is the first column. For employer contribution, you can see that we're contributing $575, and you have the amounts for the other school districts. For employee only, that would be $80. And again, this is calculation of July premiums, starting July 2017 for the 17-18 school year. Our current premiums are $20 less. That's $60 for the 16-17. For employee and spouse, it goes to $455. Employee and children, $300. And employee and family, $660. So you have the comparison there where we still are lower than other school districts when it comes to health insurance on the premium plan. Our base plan, where we have the majority of our employees, still the employer contribution is $575. That plan currently this school year is at no cost to our employee. However, starting in July, it will go to $20. Employee and spouse is $300. Employee and children will be $215. And employee and family will be $502. And still, compared to other districts, you will see that we are the lowest as far as cost to our employees. And to say the least, the best health benefits package that is in the Region 19 area. And our high deductible plan, that will be $20 to the employee and spouse $295, employee and children $190, and employee and family $495. And again, that's also very competitive to other school districts. And at this time, I will entertain any questions. Administration is recommending the compensation plan as presented.
Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Third.
Wow, who was second? You guys tell me.
I was me.
A motion was made by Mr. Najas, second by Mr. Gonzalez. All those in favor?
Discussion, sir.
Discussion.
You guys are well worth it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. I would like to thank Mr. Campoya and Mr. Reina. Mr. Reza, I'm sorry, where's Mr. Reina? No, Mr. Reza. We had these board workshops for the past couple of months, but since we've been on the board, I believe the highest we've given has been 2%, I believe. And I know Isleta last year and the year before, they gave everybody a stipend of $450. That's a one-time deal. This 3%, it's probably not, you all deserve more, we all know that, but we started off at 1%, we started off at 1.5%, 2%, we ended up at 3%. So we appreciate everything you all do. And I believe the best thing of all was Mr. Campoyo mentioned was at the midpoint, now we're going to have our temporary workers, temporary employees are also going to get part of the 3% also. And I think that's huge. So I want to thank administration for doing a great job. And for the teachers, thank you. B, consider approval of revisions of 2017-18 student calendar.
President Guerra, Dr. Espinosa, members of the board, good evening. Thank you on behalf of them and all our employees. Thank you very much and congratulations to each and every one of you. I'm here to talk to you a little bit, consider approval to the 2017-2018 student calendar. As you know, a year ago, we decided to approve 2 years of student calendar to accommodate our parents and our students, especially our military parents that were deployed, and it's gone really well. As we were reviewing the calendar for this next school year, 2017-2018, as we discussed, I know I went to the policy committee and CNI, as we discussed when we did the days. This year, this coming school year, our students are going to attend school 1 day less. They are only going to attend school for 178 days compared to this school year, 179 days. So when Mr. Campoya and HR went to do the employee calendar for teachers, their contracted days are 187 days, so we were short a day. We took so we obviously needed to add a day for the teachers for their contract. So when we took it to ad hoc, we took it to cabinet, then we took it to CNI and policy, and then I took Ms. Rodriguez's advice, and I went out and I brought all the associations. Yesterday, they brought some teachers and explained the why this had happened. And really, it came down to January the 1st, landing on Sunday this year, and next year, January the 1st, landing on Monday. So that took away one calendar day of instruction for the kiddos. So there's never a good day. I did try to, every time I get the microphone, I want to tell a joke or be funny, but I can't up here, right? But there's never a good day. As we went back and forth, and especially because we're year-round, we decided that it would be on March the 3rd. The day the teachers would then only come back 1 week and go ahead and be on intercession break. The teachers definitely did not want any of their intercession days taken because we thought about a Monday or Friday, etc. And while nobody wants to work an extra day, and I did try for 186 days, but they said it was illegal. They were okay and they understood the why and why we had to do this. And I promised them, because I've already started working on the 2019-2020, and it's not leap year, and the calendar will be in their favor the following year. So I would like to ask you to approve this calendar with adding March the 3rd as a work day. Is there any questions?
Mr. Guerra. What happened to 180? I thought the calendar we have now, the reason we had 179 days of instruction, we had already made an accommodation from the 180 to the 179, and now we're going to take another day back. I know we're really playing with those 75,000 minutes or whatever, but the reality is here, we're whittling here, and next year maybe we got to make another allowance and go to 177 because you're really only framing it from previous years. What happened to the 180?
And I can't tell you exactly what happened to the 180, but I will tell you that everything did change with the minutes, and we are playing with the minutes a little bit, high schools versus elementary. And if you go back next year, it'll be at 178 as well, and it's really actually the way the calendar falls and how it falls depending on the actual holidays and the way where Christmas falls. It's not really that we're actually not even giving Easter Monday anymore, where that happened in the past. I don't know, I could do a little bit of research. Lujan and I have looked at the last 10 years, and there is similar calendars where there is 178 days and 179 days of instruction as well. So I think it fluctuates depending on how the calendar, and I could look that for you. I don't have the answer. I wish I did, but I can look it up and find out what did happen. We do go to school more minutes than we hit the minutes that we need to hit and actually go a little more than we should, just to pad it to make sure that we don't mess that up.
Well, I thought we were already going way over the minutes anyway. We're not padding any minutes unless we've been cutting minutes.
No,
and I
we're
understood
not.
the only playing with the minutes was we had an option for a snow day, but not that we were adjusting minutes. That had been discussed before, the total number of minutes. And
Yeah, and
I
we're-
thought we stayed on the old calendar, which exceeded the minutes.
No, and we're not. We're actually, if you look at it, at the elementary, we do exceed the minutes, but at the high school, because of that prep period that they have at the beginning, we don't. We just barely make, and I could get you those numbers exactly. I don't have them right here, and I think Lupe has left, but we are just making it right on the money as far as the high schools and instructional time.
I see. Pardon me?
No, and we're
Well,
making
yeah,
a
I
change
realize
on
it's
the employee, but
employee,
he's asking
but
student.
it used to be 180 days of instruction, 187 days for the teachers.
Yes, sir.
Now we're at 178 is my thought, and then I heard the comment, we've been playing with the minutes, and I understood the only playing with the minutes was a snow day.
No, and when I say playing with the minutes, and I apologize, I didn't mean that. I'm meaning that we're trying to hit the minutes as much as we can. We don't go to school, I mean, it just depends on how the calendar falls and be able to have those 2 weeks in July and those 2 weeks at Christmas time and the exact same holidays. We're not adding any more days or going any less. It just depends. As a matter of fact, we're going all the way past Memorial Day now.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Motion to approve. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Mr.
Second.
Mayor, if I may?
Ms. Rodriguez?
Okay, so you, and just, again, to make sure, because I brought up a lot of questions about that.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, everybody understands?
Yes, ma'am.
And, okay.
Yes, and they
again,
they
just for the record,
understood.
I wanted to make sure, because again, we're adding on another work day and.
Yes, ma'am.
And we messed up on the calculations and stuff, but we're gonna be okay with this. We're not gonna have to add another day later, right?
No, ma'am. I think this is it. It was my first rodeo with the calendar.
On a Saturday.
It was my first rodeo with the calendar, 2 years, and leap year. I was lucky. I went and bought a lottery ticket, but yes, ma'am, it is correct.
Okay.
I do want to add that in the middle, just so that you know, it's correct on the calendar, but in the middle, if you look under June 1st, there's not any high school graduations on June 1st, so that'll be deleted.
Okay, say that again, I'm sorry.
If you look in the middle in the blue, it's written out, for some reason, I don't know why, under June 1st, it says high school graduations. There are no high school graduations,
okay.
so we'll just delete that.
Okay, thank you.
That's a typo.
Okay.
Had a motion by Ms. Nahara. Motion by Ms. Nahara, second by Mr. Gandara.
I thought Mr. Nahara made a second.
Oh, Mr. Hamid, I'm sorry.
Doesn't
Motion
matter.
by Ms. Nahara, second by Mr. Nahara. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Borrego. Next item, 11C.
when you make them president?
Consider approval of revisions of TASB Update 107 and local policy information.
President Guerra, Dr. Espinosa, members of the board, administration recommends consideration and approval of revisions to the following policies from TASB Update 107, Policy CDC, GE, FFA, and Local Policy CDA to include the resolution, FMG, and FNCA as presented.
Any questions?
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Gandara, second by Mr. Gonzalez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Macias. Item 11D, consider approval of amended and restated tower lease agreement with Contel Cellular of the Southwest. Mr. Ianton.
Yes, President Guerra, Dr. Espinosa, members of the board, congratulations again and thank you for what y'all do. On page 221 is the report on the Contel cell tower lease that I'm bringing forward. If you recall, last month we had two cell tower leases on the agenda, and both of them were pulled to come back after further negotiation. The one that we were discussing last month was the AT&T. We didn't get to the second one, which was the one that is at the SAC that has to do with Contel and Crown Castle. They have come back. In fact, they listened and saw your board meeting. They actually, the lady that we're negotiating with actually got the tape of the board meeting and viewed it and is coming back with a proposal. The original lease, March 1st, 1995, will expire in February of 2020, which is not too far. And that was originally a 25-year lease. They are proposing to increase the rent to $1,500 a month, which is a little bit more than what it was going to go up on a yearly basis at the current rate, and to increase the yearly rate per the consumer price index, not to exceed 5%. And that will be, based on the most recent month. And then to add 15 years to that lease. So, we originally had a 25-year lease. Now we're looking at extending it for 15 years to expire in 2030. And it would increase per the consumer price index, like I stated, and not to exceed the 5% each year. It could be lower than that, but it's going to be in that range. They're also proposing, once the board approves this and the extension is secure, is a $10,000 bonus to sign it up. And they also included in there that if they add additional antennas from any other vendors, we would get an additional $250 per month added to the rent. Administration recommends consideration and approval of the amended lease as presented.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Ayub, second by Mr. Gondara. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Harrington. Item 11E, consider approval of order authorizing the issuance of the district's unlimited tax refunding bonds to achieve debt service savings for the district. Mr. Reza.
Yes, President Guerra, Dr. Espinosa, members of the board. Tonight we are requesting your approval to extend for another 180 days a parameter order that was originally approved back in October 2016 for the purpose of refunding the 2011 and 12 series bonds to achieve savings to reduce future debt service payments. Just for your information, shortly after the order was originally approved in October, bond rates rose and we were not able to achieve the savings set by the order, namely achieving a net present value savings of 5% for both series and reduced interest bond payments of $10.3 million. In recent months, however, bond rates have decreased to the extent that we now have met the minimum requirement for the 2011 bond series, and we're still short on the 2012 bond series. Consequently, we're requesting this extension using the same parameters that were approved back in October of 2016.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Ayub, second by Mr. Gondara.
Mr. Guerra.
Mr. Nahara.
Mr. Reza, so all we're doing here is extending the order that we had previous authorized, and again, the intent is to reduce the bond rates that we pay, the interest that we pay. So in essence, if the rates are favorable, we basically refinance, and it's our gain because we pay less interest over the lifetime of the bonds, right?
That's exactly correct.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Reza. Item 12, executive session. The meeting is to be closed for consultation with legal counsel to discuss personal and real estate matters and to consider administrative recommendations for Director of Human Resources and Principal for a new elementary school under Texas Government Code Section 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074. The time is 9:09.